Gabrielle, you first went out to LA. Um, Obviously, you wanted to work in television, film, some commercials. Where did you start, and like how? What was your approach to to getting into La La Land?
Oh, geez. Okay. So for me, well, finances, it's a huge thing. And I know a lot of people don't like to talk about it or, it's in the back of their mind, but I think finances need to be at the forefront of any conversation to do with acting because it is an investment
Hmm.
and it's going to be a lot. I mean, it's not going to break your wallet. You shouldn't be, selling your house for it necessarily, but it is an expense and it's an investment and there's monthly recurring costs. So for me, my first step was finances. And I work a part-time job. So when I was in college, I was also working 3 to 4 times a week to make money. So before I went out to La La Land, I was saving up a ton of money, making sure everything was in order so I can go out there. And I was looking at Airbnbs. I was looking at Verbo. I was looking at all these different places that were renting, not even rooms. It was, I think, 199 square feet. I was living in like a box, but I'm okay with that because the people that I was renting from, thankfully they were so nice, so sweet, and it's kind of a little thing because when you're there, you're not really there to hang out in your room all day. When you're going to La La Land, you're there
Right.
to explore, to learn, to go out. So I was able to spend less on a room, so I could put more money towards classes and
Hmm.
towards being able to Uber everywhere and to do other things to casting director workshops and not even that, just going to meet with people to figure out and learn and network about this industry. So I think the first step is to figure out your finances. And that's what I did.
That's good. That's from a business graduate, so
You
that's
have to.
important. And things are expensive out there, right? A lot more so than here. I mean, we think New Jersey and New York are expensive.
No, no. No, no, no. That's nothing compared to LA. Oh, let me tell you. I mean, the gas on its own is like 429, 489 on a good day.
Wow.
Yeah, it was expensive. Yeah, it's and a lot of people I met, they're like, well, we can just hang out, but I don't really want to be friends because are you gonna just leave in a year? And I'm like, no, no, I'm moving back. So a lot of people out there are so used to making friends and being so tight with these people that they're meeting, and then they just end up getting up and leaving because they get kicked out of their house, they can't afford it, their roommate leaves now, and I think the cheapest on rent for a studio, cheap, like dirt cheap would be dirt cheap considered in quotations, is like 1800 maybe, but usually if you want to be in an area that has like a security system or maybe a bathroom or a bed, like one bedroom, not a studio, is like 2300 because
Hmm.
I have done intensive research to move out there, and if you live in the valley versus living in Hollywood, it is a lot because then you got to get over the mountain to get into town. So are you willing to do that and pay an Uber and sit in your car for 45 minutes? I mean, I liked the view of sitting in my car and looking down at the mountains and whoo, can't go off. That's pretty scary. Like,
Yeah.
because it drops down. A little scary, gotta say. Had to get used to that. Um, but yeah, you need to think. So yeah, yeah, from a business student finances, you gotta think about, and it's expensive. I mean, classes out there are cheaper, but food's more expensive. So is gas. So is rent. So like out here, like Jersey and New York, we take a train ride up to the city, and I can walk to my audition, but my train ticket's like $30 round trip.
Yeah.
Not bad, but I'm also not close enough. Like in LA, if I'm the next day I'm filming, I can't fly out there. Or my plane ticket out there is gonna be 800 to just get out there the next day. So, you know, give and take. You have to think what works best for you and what you're willing to sacrifice or, not sacrifice.
Yeah. And when you're going into these auditions with, people who are famous and powerful, there can be some intimidation there, and I know you had spoken about, you have to project confidence, but at the same time you have to project, or you have to maintain um, your own standards and everything, and you don't want to jump into something that you're uncomfortable with.
Yes. So I really think that every actor goes through their own learning process with when and how. And I am still sometimes horrified to go into an audition if I get a little nervous. It's normal, but I think you can't allow your anxiety, your fear, your, oh my God, it's a big name. Because guess what? In the end, they are just human. They really are. And LA is really good with that because you see famous people going to the I mean, they're everywhere. So for people that live there or that have been acting there for a while, they're like, oh yeah, I just saw him down there. Like, no biggie. So you got to know that you're going into these rooms, and I've even been told out in LA that the casting directors and these big name, you know, people, they're actually rooting for you. They want to find the person that is going to make their job complete. You know what? They found that next great actor. They found that next great actress. They just want, they're not rooting for you. They are. They want to see you succeed. So when you go into a room or you're going into these places with some big name people, they were once in your shoes too. Everyone starts from the bottom usually, and you just gotta remember that, which I know is hard. It is so hard to remember that. It really is. And we gotta breathe. You gotta remember who you are. You gotta be confident, which I know, but you keep telling yourself to be confident, it'll finally sink in. Trust me. But yeah, you gotta know that they're just humans like us, and they're really rooting for you. They're not trying to say like, oh my God, you're bad. And guess what? Sometimes you'll get notes. They'll send them back to you or your agent and tell you like what you could have changed or fixed, or they'll let you do it again. And I've had that in rooms where they'll be like, take it back, do it again, do it this way. And then they'll be like, wow, great, that was what we were looking for. So and also what I've learned is that you don't want to go in pleasing them. You don't want to go, okay, I got to do this because maybe they'll like it. Oh, maybe they'll like this instead, because they don't want what you're going to give them to please them. They want to see what you've brought to the table. They want to see what you're bringing to this character, what you're doing, who you are. And they want to see little specks of that in the character, who you are yourself. And that's when they'll like it. That's when they'll hire you. But if they can see, they said it too, like my acting coaches, they're like, trust me, these people can see through you. If it looks like you're nervous, they can tell you're rushing. They can tell that you're not there present. You just got to be present and focused and just show them what you bring into the table. That's it. That's all they can ask for. Seriously.
So be authentic.
Yes. Oh, yes. Be authentic.
That's great. That's a good cheer. Be authentic.
Be authentic.
If you're nervous, think about it. Just think about it. That's a very good point too, because they see so many people a day. A lot of times, I would think you go in, you're like, oh, they see so many people. I'm just one person. How do I stand out? And you do have to stand out, but you also got to think, am I right for this project? Like, that's really what they're looking for. They don't want to put you into something that isn't going to work for you, because then it doesn't work for you and it doesn't work for them. So they're really trying to fit you to your strengths.
Oh yeah. And like they always say, if you can't book the job, book the room. Because if you book the room, next time if they see an opportunity, they'll be like, you know what, I really liked her. She or he, they were that good. You know what, I'm going to bring them in for this role. And there's stories of people that just have amazing auditions, but they just can't get booked until that one spot opens up and it's like, you know what, that's a fit. And it really is, if you fit for the project or not. And none of it's in your control except you coming in, showing up, believing in yourself, and doing your job. That's it.
Yeah. And now I know in this era, there's been a lot of talk about red flags and things, and people are being more open about it. Is there any advice that you can offer, keeping that in mind?
So only from my experience, I know you can look go online and find other things that really nitty gritty that can tell you legally, in contracts, if you're signing something, if it's okay or not. You can ask your team if you have one. But for me, red flags in general, listen to your gut. Number one, I think, everybody says, if your gut is saying something or it feels weird and you're like, listen to it. Because I have had that experience where I've gone into meetings trying to meet an agent or a manager, and my gut's been like, and I go in and it's just a bunch of red flags. So other red flags would be, if on your contract, if you're paying, you do not pay your agents or managers for anything. Also, you don't pay to be in a production. So you don't pay to audition, none of that. The only thing you're paying for is if you're going to see somebody talk. That's it. And usually when you go to those things, they cannot take your headshot or resume. So like I mentioned before, casting director workshops, those used to be a thing, but not really anymore. And if it is, they will not take your headshot or resume, because legally they can't do that. They're just there to provide you with information. So you really should not be paying for absolutely anything unless it is an informational session or meeting. Not everyone is bad. It's very few and far between, but you need to, be careful. Also, signing on the spot. You should never, ever sign on the spot, ever. One takeaway, do not sign anything on the spot. I don't care if you like it, they're great, and you're going to sign with them. Don't. You take that contract home, you bring it to your parents if they can understand like what you're reading, and or if they're a lawyer, or bring it to a lawyer or someone that's been in this business for a very long time that knows what they're doing and has their own contracts with managers and agents. Or what I've also heard is, if you're interested in having an agent, you can say, look, I got this contract, for if you're trying to hire, or they're trying to hire you in a movie. You can say, look, I got this contract for like a movie or a TV show or anything like that. And that actually will make the agent want to maybe sign with you. Or maybe they'll want to work with you and try a little like 6-month freelance period, and they can help you negotiate. So that's also a way you can try to get an agent or manager to sign with you. It's like, look, hey, I need this help. And you're genuine and honest, you need that help. So they might be willing to help you. Now, if you're trying to get an agent or manager, of course you don't send that to another agent or manager.
Right.
That would be really weird. But you need to pinpoint. And also, like resume, their resume, you need to look that up. You need to see what they've worked with, who they've worked with, what they've done. You need to make sure they're credible. And if they're a new company, new agent, give them a chance. They're probably not bad. They're probably just starting out like you once did. But there's just also, when you're going into a place, like red flags for an audition, never ever should you have to strip. I'm not quite sure because I haven't had auditions like that, but there are times where they'll say, are you comfortable with this? Or are you comfortable showing this? And you'll just answer, on your casting profile, and you won't then do any of that until the day of filming. You would never in an audition. Only kissing, I believe, would then be allowed, which, I've done in auditions too, but that's when you get to so far up to like a chemistry read, or you're doing a test and you got to kiss and see if it's going to work. But other than that, you should not be stripping, none of that, because also that's just, if you don't feel comfortable with that, you don't need to do it. With anything, if they say you need to kiss, you could tell them, hey, I'm not comfortable, XYZ. You don't need to do what everyone tells you to do. You are yourself. You need to make sure that you're okay with everything. And your managers and agents, if you have a team, they're really cool with that. Like, you just tell them ahead of time, or you text them in between and say like, hey, I'm uncomfortable, please, help me, let them know. So everyone's really rooting for you, and you just gotta, those are some red flags you definitely gotta watch out for.
Good, great info. Gabrielle, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with me. Is there a place where we can see your work or your social media that we can send people?
Oh, sure, yeah. So Instagram, it's at Gabrielle Cody. Also IMDb, it is at Gabrielle Cody. And over there you can find all the links. If you have an IMDb Pro account, you can see all my stuff there too.
Great. And I'll have those links in the description. Gabrielle, thank you so much for going into depth.
Thank you, Andrew.